Welcome to the Scorebook Live California football preview video. He's Lance Smith. I'm Connor Morrissette. Lance, second round of the playoffs. The quarterfinals are upon us. We're here at Loyola High. Going to speak to Ceyair Wright in a little bit. They're a great defensive back, but just hear these guys. They're yelling. They're getting after it. They're so pumped to have won a playoff game and now advance to the quarterfinals where they'll face Villa Park.
Yeah, and that's going to be a great game. The team they knocked off to get here, Palos Verdes, that's one heck of a team. No one shuts them out, so that's a statement win. And this week is going to have such a deep slate of games that could go either way that might be unparalleled this season.
Absolutely. And I mean, the quarterfinals, it's do or die time. We're getting closer and closer to championships, and these teams know it, which is why you're hearing all that enthusiasm from Loyola. Let's start in the city section. We're going to preview a game, one game in the city, and then we'll get to 5 in the southern section. Let's start in the city. Open division in the city. Garfield against Birmingham. That's the 5-4 matchup with Birmingham hosting. And Garfield, they got a great rushing attack with P.J. Garcia. Birmingham, though, their rushing attack, in my opinion, doesn't get enough credit. Janino Lienko is a great senior running back for them. And I think the fact that Birmingham has had more success passing the ball with Jackson Dadich, their quarterback, gives them the edge against Garfield, a team with a great defense, a great front four. That's kind of my analysis there. I'm taking Birmingham.
I'm exactly the same way. I mean, it could go either way. Garfield's had some nice games this year. Like you said, it's the 5-4, so it's, there's no clear favorite or underdog really. But Birmingham has been competitive against some slightly better teams, just a little more well-rounded. I think they're the clear favorite, but can't count Garfield out in the slightest.
I know Garfield made the Open Division Championship a year ago, but the passing attack looks a little bit different this year than it did last year. Okay, in the southern section, the big game, Mission Viejo hosting Servite, another 5-4 game. Is it a year too early for Servite? That's the question I have here on my paper. I'm not sure because they've competed with the big boys all season long. They went toe-to-toe with St. John Bosco. They had Bishop Gorman on the schedule. They beat J. Sarah. It's been a great year for them. Looking at Mission Viejo, though, my question with them, it's the strength of schedule. It's, they're 10-0, but they haven't challenged themselves like Servite has, so I question that. But that defense on Mission Viejo is so good, and Peter Castelli, their quarterback, has had a great year too.
Yeah, and what I like about both of these teams, other than that both of them are fun to watch, is that they really do everything well. Neither of these teams has a glaring weakness. They're both great defensively. They both have very good passing games. I think you got to give the edge in the passing sense to Servite just by a little bit, not just with Noah Fafita, the super sophomore, but his receiving core of Damian Moon, another sophomore, and Tetaroa McMillan, and Zedekiah Centers. I think that gives them a little bit of an edge. They also have a good run game with Kyle Bandy and Derek Fuentes and a couple other good guys. I might give a slight edge.
You've seen both, so.
I've seen both. I might give a slight edge to Mission Viejo. They have that tandem of Tyson Scott and Jaquez Robertson, and both of them are, I think, close to 1,000 rushing yards or in the vicinity. And then defense, front seven, secondary. I mean, they're just so evenly matched. To me, this might be the best game of the year. Obviously, I know I say that a lot. I said it with Bosco versus Mater Dei. That didn't end up being quite.
That was a good one. But
that was a great game. It's hard for me to see either of these teams bringing anything other than their A game, and it's hard for me to see where either of them has the clear edge over each other. So I think this game is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, and Mission Viejo will be tired of saying they haven't played anyone because I mean they do have some nice wins: Upland, La Habra, San Clemente. So they've beaten some teams
convincingly.
Yeah. So the next question is, can they do it against Servite?
Yep.
All right, Lance, moving on. Next game, Division II, Chaminade against Upland. Chaminade against Norco. What a classic first-round game. Chaminade, Jalen Henderson throws to Willie Camacho with 19 seconds left. That's the game winner. That was Camacho's 6th touchdown. Upland, I picked against them last week. Right here on my sheet, I have 50-50. Neither of these teams I want to pick against right now because Chaminade, man, I thought they might be in some trouble. I didn't know if their offense could go toe-to-toe with that Norco offense. I was wrong. I thought Oaks Christian, their offense would be able to score more, and Upland, their defense, I was wrong about that. So I don't know how to pick this one. Both teams are hot. Upland kind of stuttered to end the regular season. Chaminade has played great. Again, I'm going to hesitate to make a pick here because I whiffed on both of them in the previous week. Chaminade seems like the team of destiny, but Upland has so much talent on that defense. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, no, we both picked wrong on both of them last week. I had Norco winning Division II outright. I will say this, though.
Not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast. I will say this. If they hadn't drawn Chaminade so early, I would have had Chaminade in the discussion too, even though they were, one of the lower ranked teams. So the reason I'm going to take Chaminade in what is essentially a 50-50 game is they are the hotter team. I saw Upland play against Mission Viejo. Their defense was great. Mission Viejo put up 38 mostly because of how many possessions they got. They forced so many 4 and outs that they just got so many cracks at them. In that game, and it's hard for your offense to look good against Mission Viejo, but in that game, I said, I don't know how much firepower Upland has. They lost some of their best playmakers from last year, still have one of the best defenses in the whole business. So I'm going to take Chaminade because they're hot and because they just knocked off my squad, Norco. I'm going to give the edge to the team with momentum, but either way, it's really a toss-up.
Chaminade better be able to stop the run. Tyevan Ford had a great game against Oaks Christian. He's a bigger back, so just get ready to get hit a little bit because he seeks the contact out. I remember watching him at a scrimmage at Garfield earlier in the year. He's a problem, so they'll have to game plan for him, and I'm sure they will. 2 other games before we talk to Ceyair Wright of Loyola. Long Beach Poly at Rancho Cucamonga. So you mentioned how you picked Norco. I picked Rancho Cucamonga. They looked solid against Morrissette Valley. Long Beach Poly, you saw them last week, kind of the team of destiny, a little bit like Chaminade with that big win over Orange Lutheran. I thought Orange Lutheran was going to win kind of easily.
Yep, me too.
And to start that game, they were looking good, and then all of a sudden everything changes. I saw a few people complain about the refs in that game. Was there any legitimacy to that, or is that just people who are frustrated?
The one that really got me, and I have it on video, is on Orange Lutheran's 3rd down before they kicked the field goal that could have potentially won them the game if they didn't give up a touchdown. The refs missed one of the most egregious pass interferences, and I'm not saying the result would have been any different.
Yeah, but you never know.
Yeah, so there were a few gripes there, but Long Beach Poly, they did what they needed to do to win. Their defense clamped down when they gave up 2 really zero-resistant touchdowns to Orange Lutheran's excellent running back Cooper Vanderhill early in the game. After that, they barely let them score at all. So their defense clamped down. Makai Jordan was running the ball great all year, all game. He was struggling with the passing game a little bit, and then in the 4th quarter and overtime, man, every single throw was right on the dart. And if they play the way they played down the stretch of that game, I'll absolutely give them a chance. Rancho Cucamonga, we know they can score. C.J. Stroud, Jaden Vixendale. I just said that wrong. Jaden Dixonville, and then Quentin Moden. I mean, they have playmakers on that team. The question is defense. Got what they needed to do against Morrissette Valley. I think they have the edge. But I wouldn't put it past Long Beach Poly's offense if they play the way they did down the stretch to surprise Rancho Cucamonga with just how much they really can get in the end zone.
I think Rancho Cucamonga is going to smoke them. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'll take them by 2 touchdowns.
Rancho Verde, San Clemente. It's a battle of 2 quarterbacks who I've enjoyed covering this year. So Nick Billups for San Clemente. Sometimes he doesn't even play quarterback. They rotate between 2 guys. But when he's in, it's exciting. He offers that dual threat ability. He's going to run, he's going to throw. And sometimes with those guys, you can kind of lay off and let them throw. But not Nick. He's against Corona Del Mar. He really impressed me with his arm as well as his legs. So Rancho Verde is going to have the game plan for him.
Yep.
On the other side, sophomore A.J. Duffy is one of the best sophomores, if not the best sophomore quarterback in Southern California. And he's having a great year. To lead Rancho Verde to a win over Serra was really impressive. That defense is good.
Yep.
I think San Clemente's defense and Serra's defense is kind of similar, and the fact that this game is at San Clemente and Rancho Verde goes on the road might hurt him a little bit because they only beat Serra in overtime. That one was close. I think San Clemente is very well coached, and their defense is really good. I like them this week. I think Rancho Verde kind of like surveyed a little bit next year. Next year they will be a little better.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and for that I can't quite give them the edge. But putting the stops on Gardena Serra last week, they showed their defense is legit. I mean, when they, we talked about this last week. Early in the season, no one really gave them a chance to do anything in Division II. A lot of people thought they would be one of the bottom 5 teams in Division II, even with AJ Duffy, and get knocked out easily in the first round. Then they have that 63-35 win over Norco, who was undefeated and looked like a potential D1 team at that point. Everyone said, oh, is this a fluke? I mean, Norco's defense not what it used to be. 63 points, that's one thing. They also held them to 35 in a game that, how those 2 teams play. They play shootouts where there's a lot of touches. So to hold Norco to 35 points, that was something. to me, this win against Sarah is what really legitimized them as a potential, potential Division II championship team,
Certainly.
really. So they're not going to have that edge against San Clemente, who's been almost perfect this year outside of having gotten beaten pretty soundly against Mission Viejo. But other than that, they've taken care of business. They beat Tesoro quite easily. I think Rancho Verde isn't that much better than Tesoro because Tesoro is really good. But again, this Rancho Verde team seems to have improved throughout the season, way better than the team that lost 30-7 against Upland. So I'll go 60-40 San Clemente.
Wow, high scoring affair.
I'm sorry, 60.
Oh, got it. 60%. Okay,
Yeah.
I agree. I think San Clemente wins, and I like those odds too. Like we said off the top, we're here at Loyola. Ceyair Wright, defensive back, joining us. Ceyair, last week against Palos Verdes, you're on the defense, and you guys played so well, pitching a shutout on the road. Just kind of take us through that game. I know it was a really hard-fought, one-score game, and emotions were high.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. The fans, everybody was there. There was tons of people there. Energy was high. We were having fun. Everybody was having fun. Obviously, when you don't let the other team score, you're gonna be going crazy. So it was great. We were really proud of ourselves for sure.
So looking at you guys' schedule this season, you've had one of the most difficult of anyone in Division 4. You had a tough preseason, just strength of schedule-wise. Then you guys, Mission League, of course. And you look at what Palos Verdes had. They had games against Culver City and some other strong
Corona
team.
Del Mar.
Corona Del Mar, 20-10. But overall, you guys had the stronger strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like maybe that gave you an edge coming into a close game against a strong opponent?
Definitely, I felt like we had been in that position before. We've been in a lot of close games, and this one we definitely were finally able to pull one out. So I don't even know what the scores of all their games have been, but I know that we're definitely more used to being in a tight situation where every snap counts.
Ceyair, Villa Park up next. Don't want to have you give them any bulletin board material, but I'm sure you've watched some film. What's it going to take to beat them? Just kind of what are you guys thinking heading into that one?
Definitely, we got to be physical. We've got to be strong. No mistakes. We can't let them capitalize on anything, and we just got to make plays. Just do what we've been out here doing.
When you look at Villa Park, their biggest name, I am sorry if I don't pronounce it right, is Zion Olafosio. He's a ridiculously athletic, all-purpose guy, does a whole lot of everything, special teams, offense, defense. Right. And again, without revealing too much, what's kind of the MO on containing someone who's simply just arguably the most athletic person on the field, whatever role you throw them in?
We just want to stick to our game plan. Our game plan is definitely we're gonna shut down their whole team in general. So when of course they've got a couple good talented people, so we're just gonna stick to what we do best and stop them.
Ceyair, it's been no secret that the last few years Loyola, they've struggled, and this year you're in the playoffs, you win a round. Coach Casani, we hear the practice, the guys on the sideline are going nuts. It seems like he's in the process of changing the culture a little bit, getting you guys back to your winning ways. What's year one been like with him as the head coach?
Oh, it's been great, definitely. He's come right when he came in here. We switched everything around, I think, and also the seniors, their goal was to switch the culture of what the team is, and so he's done a great job, and I'm so thankful for him coming in and taking the job and switching around what the past couple of years have been.
And last question, kind of along those same lines, is a lot of people counted you guys out this season. They said you weren't going to win one game in league. Right. They said you weren't going to go anywhere in the playoffs. Obviously, you guys have proved them wrong, and had a lot of close losses against really good teams too. How much of a chip on your shoulders do you guys have? It seems like a lot of your wins this year have just come from playing so much harder and bringing the most energy. Right. Do you guys play with the chip on your shoulder this year?
For sure. When you're coming off a 1-9 season, you've got to come in every game. You're going to be the underdog. So every game we come in knowing that the other team is going to think that less of us and that we have to prove to them that we're the better team. And so that's what we've been trying to do throughout the season.
And Ceyair, the last one for me, obviously Loyola, the football team is going in the right direction. You're having a great year. I want to ask about your other life. You're an actor as well. You've been in some commercials, but you got your big break, so to speak. You're going to be LeBron James' son in the upcoming Space Jam movie. I know you can't give too much away about that, but what's that like? You're a star-studded football player, one of the top recruits in the region, and you also have this great acting background. How do you balance it all? How much fun is that?
It's great. I've got a great support system with my family and my friends, and I just do my best. I'm definitely pretty busy, but I think I've handled it pretty well. So.
That's Ceyair Wright. We're here at Loyola High. Huge game for them in Division 4, the quarterfinals, playing Villa Park right here. That's Lance Smith. Ceyair Wright, like I mentioned, I'm Connor Morrissette. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Awesome, man. That was great.
Yeah, great job. Thank you, man. You too. And might see you on Friday.